Hi, this is Greg Noyes, Pacific West Home Inspections, and today I'm doing a house in Northridge. It's Friday, March 29th, and it's an older house built in the 50s, 57, and it's had two owners, and the last owner has been here for 40 years, so there's some maintenance things that haven't been done over the years, but it's same structure. The front of the house, I'm going to show you how to turn off the different utilities. At the very front of the house, by the front door, there's your main water shutoff valve. And it's this valve here. You shut it off and it shuts all the water off to the house. And there's a valve here called a pressure regulator, and it's supposed to keep the pressure under 80 pounds. And on this, there should be another part. It's called a pressure relief valve. It's missing. And I'll check the pressure a little bit later. So on the front of the house, again, we have the gas meter, and when you move in, by the time you move in, there'll be another valve here. It's called a seismic gas shutoff valve, and it's a compliance issue with the City of LA. It's one of the things they require at the time of sale. So the seller will put that in. And now, just to shut it off manually, it's down here, this valve here. You turn this 90 degrees, and they left a little wrench here for you. You put the wrench on here, push down, and turn it 90 degrees. During an earthquake of 5.4 or more on the Richter scale, this automatic seismic gas shut-off valve will work and turn off the gas, so you won't have to worry about that. So just paint all through the house. Hasn't been painted in many years. The asphalt driveway needs some help, and on asphalt we recoat them every 5 years, and it's a sacrificial type of coating, so the sun beats down on the top layer rather than the base. The base now is starting to deteriorate. We got the afternoon jet fighters overhead. We're a little scene of national security over here in Northridge. And then the carport in the back of the house, it's sagging, and I'll climb the roof and take a look at that here in a little bit. At the rear of the house, we find the main panel, and the top part is a disconnect. It's a fuse disconnect, and some insurance companies no longer allow that, so you may have to find the insurance company that does allow it. And then there's two main disconnects, fuse disconnects, for which have them marked. And then in the rear closet here is one of the two water heaters. This is electric. There's warranty work done on it, so the label's been removed, and there's a note saying voided, and that's, so I have no idea when it was replaced or the size. I do know it's electric. Now we're going to go up to the roof and do the roof next. As I'm climbing up to reach the roof in the rear of the house, I came across some deterioration of wood at the fascia board. So again, the house has been owned by the same family for 40 years. It appears to be a lack of maintenance over the years. The roof is a composition shingle roof, and you can see it's losing some of the rock here, so it's a sign of aging here. And it's rigid, so that's another sign that it's an aging roof. So we'll go to the very top of the roof and look at the ridge cap, and that is our litmus test for how well it's for age. This top of the roof ridge cap here looks like it may have been replaced at one period. The front and back roofs appear to be older, so I would say they're pushing 16, 18 years. Now on the west exposure, which would be the front of the house, you can see more of the felt, or the base material, and so it's just another sign that it's an aging roof. Typically this type of roofing lasts 20 years, 22 years, and it's a one layer, it's the first layer, and so you may have a couple more years on it, but you're going to be looking at a new roof here next couple of years. Top of the center of the house, they have the fireplace chimney coming up, and it's a brick line type of chimney. So today we like to see these lined with plaster, and that protects the mortar joints and allows the flow of the air to come up in a smooth flow without turbulence. And the very top of the chimney, there's no rain cap. We like rain caps, spark arresters, so it keeps the moisture from coming down inside the chimney, and it protects your mortar. And I haven't looked at the fireplace yet, but there might be efflorescence. That would be a sign of water moisture coming into the system. And you can see the cap here is need of repair. And so from my scenes already, I'd recommend you get a chimney specialist out here, and they can drop a camera down to see what the flue looks like. And up in the roof here, you gotta try to get out of the shadow here. You have a mushroom ventilator for the attic. We like these. And you have a series of pipes. These are plumbing pipes, vents. And you have a vent here that'd be a shower or a bathroom ceiling vent. You have a whirlybird up here that's actually working today. And you have a lot of critters up here, and they're dropping their feces on your roof. I don't know if they're raccoon, cat. I'm not an expert, but you got something up here. And now the power lines coming into the house, there's still the individual 3 lines, and they haven't used these for years, so they go to a 3 wire cable, and you can see that these are deteriorated. The outer rubber or plastic covering is gone, so in a wind you can have these things sparking, touching one another and sparking. And you notice that the pool is right below the wires, so we like to see the wires up 22 feet above the surface of the water, and that's a requirement within 5 feet of a pool. So this would be a safety issue. Your pool guy with a long pole could be pushing his pole against these wires. So that will be on the report as well. The pool is, the son is a pool guy, and he's saying it's been replastered probably 20 years ago. And you can see by the tint it's wearing. Now the plaster is only typically about 1/4 inch thick, and it wears like the skin of your face. So, and typically we replaster at 10 to 12 years. And I can already see the bottom of the pool where you're having the plaster's gone, and you're down to the gunite. So this needs immediate attention and needs to be replastered. The carport is sagging. The members are sagging. It's been overspanned. You got a tree on top of it, and there's a drain system inside the roof system itself. There's no gutters, and it's not pitched correctly now where it'll drain down through the roof drain. So this carport needs a lot of attention, and hopefully the termite company will find a lot of deterioration, and maybe you'll have to get a new carport. So a couple things you can hope for. Now we found 2 water heaters, and one's electric, and that's on the rear left side of the house. And down in the basement there's a 40-gallon water heater, and it's gas. It's 2001 or 2, and typically it lasts about 10 years, so you're on borrowed time now. It's at the end of its serviceable life. We don't replace them till they leak, and today there's no leaks. So you're back here, you have room for an RV, you got your carports, and new wood fence in the back of the house. And I am Greg Noyes of Pacific West Home Inspections, and I can be reached at 818-362-5578. So I just put my hand on this pole that supports the this back carport, and I just put a little bit of weight on it. But you can see my ladder move back and forth. The whole structure wobbles, and it's missing some bracing. It's not a very structurally sound. It doesn't appear to be very structurally sound. And that's a caveat saying that I'm not an engineer, and you may want to get an engineer to evaluate the structure. I'm over at the on top of the carport, or getting on top, and you see these nails. We don't nail from top. This is a passage of water getting into your system. And I'm going to bring the camera around. See if I can get up here without falling off. And you can see this dark areas here in the middle of the roof. And this is we call it ponding. The roof is sloped in a way where it doesn't shed water, but just pond water. And in the very back of the house, or the carport, you have the trees growing on it. So you want to cut back all the trees. There's an integral drain here. And you can see it's covered with, oh my god, this thing, the whole thing's shaking. The roof is problems here. You can see it's basically the materials. If they didn't nail it on and it had a better slope, it would last longer. But right now, the way it is, it needs to be redone, re-sloped. And I'll give you a shot of the back, the rear of the house. So you have a metal chimney coming up in the fireplace in the family room. You have your nice lanai there, overhang, and then you got this beautiful pool in the backyard.